This is Pro Wrestling Illustrated, a love letter to independent wrestling from Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. I am one of your hosts, PWI Editor-in-Chief Kevin McElvaney. With me here, as always, the Good Witch, the Divine Darling, the Conduit of Karma, Kaya McKenna. Kaya, how's it going?
Busy, but good. I'm not complaining at all about being busy. I have worked hard to be busy once again, so I am trying to enjoy every single moment of the grind.
Well, yeah, the bookings and signings guy is back on social media messaging people again, so no wonder you're missing.
Oh my goodness. Like and subscribe. Booking signings, like and subscribe.
Yes. We have a first today, Kaya. We've had a lot of different people on this podcast who have all sorts of different accomplishments in and outside of wrestling. This is the first time that we have a world record holder on the podcast. Yeah, what?
Wow.
Dani Mo, welcome to the podcast. Oh my gosh.
How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
I'm pretty excited for you, honestly. Like,
I know
Kevin mentioned bringing you on and discussing this. I was like, man, I'm actually very interested in how all of this comes together and the process. So, and to celebrate with you, obviously, to celebrate this as well. So,
thank you.
So you're the world record holder for the highest elevation women's wrestling match.
Correct. Yes.
Did I get that right?
Highest elevation women's pro wrestling match. And that's at 5,644 meters, which is like just under 19,000 feet.
And as I sit here on the coast, literally at sea level, that is insane to think about.
It was pretty high up
there. So you went to Nepal for this?
I did, yes. Flew all the way to Nepal for this only.
Was it any promotion that runs out there, or was it just something you two put together and decided, hey, let's go do this. Let's set a world record. It's going to be so great.
So Bhagwati, she's like the first ever women's Nepal female wrestler. And she has the Nepal Women's Wrestling Alliance over there. So it's just like for women. Now there's not a lot of women over there, but it's for the women because it's a first ever, and she created it to help women want to like wrestle and do things and be strong. So it was honestly not even part of any show, any other promotion, any other like tail end of a on the ground show. And then, hey, we're going to go up and do this. It was literally just to go do this one with promos 8-minute match.
Wow. So I mean,
that's all you need. Get it done in 8 minutes. You're doing something right.
Hey, look, that's a general good rule of thumb, no matter like what elevation you're working at. But this is so. I mean, there's a lot to talk about here, but I just know, offhand. Thankfully, it looks like you and Facade were able to go and do some sightseeing while you were there. You didn't.
It was only me. Only me. I was by myself. I flew across the world by myself.
Oh my gosh.
That's an experience.
You know what? Right. I think I may have seen a picture of the two of you traveling somewhere else and conflated the two things. So that's even more
impressive. We've been to Russia together, and we've been to Thailand together.
Yeah. See, I'm not very under-traveled. I'm like, all countries that aren't the U.S. look the same to me. No. But it's incredible. Well, we'll talk about you and Facade and your tag team later. Like, so we still want to give them a little bit of a mention, but we want to primarily focus on this because, like, you traveled across the world, and now I'm finding out completely just alone to do this, and it wasn't, like, so you get up to that height. Talk about how that happened. I heard there was even like a delay in doing this, right? It happened a day later.
Lots of delays. So originally, this was supposed to happen November of 2023. I got approached early 2023. Well, technically, November was supposed to be the second date. She wanted me to come like within like a month. I'm like, that's impossible. We can't do that because you also have to look at the weather it was on Kalapatar, and the weather up there is not the same as the weather down in Kathmandu. It's not the same as it is on Lukla. So like, you have to book it around the nice weather up there.
Was it like colder, I would imagine, up there with the elevation?
So I think it was colder, but because it was so hot and I'm used to Pittsburgh weather, I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was the perfect temperature. I got very special custom gear made only for that match. And it was long sleeves and long pants to go base off of dirt biking, which is what I used to do prior to wrestling, just for fun. But so I was comfortable. I was extremely warm and comfortable. I wasn't hot. I wasn't cold. It was perfect for me. But yeah, it was originally supposed to happen, and then there was those earthquakes that happened in November of 2023 in Nepal, which whew, there was like a lot of deaths that happened, and there were photos sent to me of people in body bags, and I'm like, should I still be coming over? And she's like, yeah, it's fine, it's okay. And then I was like, maybe we shouldn't do this. And then flight was booked. I was about to leave for a long weekend, jump in with another wrestler to get to the airport because Facade had other shows to get to. And right before the night before, we decided to just cancel it and we'll book it further down the line. So at this point, I'm like, this will never happen. It's not going to happen. And then later in 2024, she's like, hey, we're going to do this in May. And I was like, okay. And I'm just like, yeah, it'll happen. I don't trust anything until a flight is booked or money is sent to me. So whenever the actual flyer was created, I was still a little like, maybe not. I still didn't post about it. I only posted about it like 3 weeks before I left. And it was so hard to keep in for like this entire whole year prior to me actually doing it. Only a few people knew. But once the flight was booked and things were like in hand and going, that's when I posted about it and I knew it was going to be real. It was insane.
So I mean,
So
how do you?
oh, sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
Oh yeah, no, I know you wanted to ask about like the actual like prep for the match, things like this, but I'm curious, even just like getting up. What was that day like?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I woke up at 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Already off to a bad start. That's
No, I had to because like I had to do my hair. My hair's like
sure.
okay right now, but like my match hair, it takes about 45 minutes to do. And we had a flight at 6 a.m. from Kathmandu to fly up to Lukla, which is on a tiny, tiny little plane to fly to a small little town on the side of a cliff. So I had to get up at 3 to make sure my hair was done because I didn't really know what we were flying to, if I would have had space or the area or the ability to do my hair up there. So I woke up really early after barely sleeping because I was so nervous. And I did talk to Facade like as I was doing my hair, and I was like, I didn't like cry on the phone with him, but I was like very like, like when you're like holding it back and you're just like starting to get emotional, like, holy crap, I'm about to do something insane. And I played my original entrance theme song, which is The Used. It's Taste of Ink. And I'm like, oh my God, this is crazy. But we got to the airport and there were 6 of us going. One person was missing. We're like, Sanam, where are you? He was our Sherpa. So we needed him to like come and help us like if anything went wrong, but he didn't make it in time and we flew up anyway, and he's like, it's okay, I'll get on the next flight. And I'm like, okay. And when it's about a 40-minute flight on the tiniest, skinniest, shortest little plane you could ever imagine, like, here's a seat, here's the cockpit with a curtain. Like, tiny little plane. There was like two fold down seats on each side, and you had to like crunch down to get in and walk inside the plane. And it was slightly turbulent, but it was okay because we got to see very pretty mountains on the flight. And we land into Lukla, which the runway goes up, and it's only like just over 1,000 feet long. And I'm like, this is insane. And I find out after we land, Lukla is the most dangerous airport in the world. And I'm like, cool, good to know prior to leaving.
Coming in hot.
Dude, I was like, whatever, I'm landed, I'm here. And I just like start filming. I'm like walking behind another plane about to take off, my plane that still has the stuff running. And they're like yelling at me, but I'm like, look at this. And I'm just filming. I don't even care. I'm getting yelled at. But fast forward a little bit, we're waiting on the next plane to arrive, and our dude Sanam is not on the plane. And when we got off the plane, our ring mats were not there either, which are just the foam things you can get at like Walmart for everybody's in-home gyms. It's like this thick. We had 4 of those.
Muscle mats like that kids have? Okay.
Yes. We had 4 of those, and they were not there. And I'm like, oh my God. We can't wrestle on the ground that's up there. It's like all mismatched and hard rock. So hours go by. We're like up in the helipad area. Hours are going by. And I'm like, are we going to get to go? And they're like, it's okay. Sanab's coming. And I'm like, guys, if we don't leave within an hour, no more helicopters can go up, because that's when the wind and the weather is starting to come in at the higher elevations. So we need to just go. And I'm like looking around the helipad. And I'm like, what can we use as mats? There's a little like cooking area, and they had benches with little cushions on them. I'm like, we're taking these. So we had a backup plan, but Sanam made it, and we made it on the second to last helicopter to go up that afternoon. Insane.
I can't figure out which gave me the most stress about that story at first. The tiny plane was instant anxiety, because I was just like, oh, wow, okay. But then like making that journey, being up there, not having what you need, that would give me anxiety too. Then sandwich it with, oh, wait, there's only like 2 more planes left that could take us down, and then we're stuck up here all night. Like that's a lot. So
yes.
I commend you for being able to keep it together, because I probably would have had a small mini meltdown at that point.
For real?
I think I was having internal meltdowns that I wasn't allowing outside of like when it was getting close. So like the helicopters, they have to stop around like 1 o'clock because of the weather of going higher, because Lukla's at like 22,000 or 2,200 meters. Bless you. And then where we were flying to was 5,644 meters. So we still had a ways to go, or it was a 7-day hike. And I'm like, I'm not prepared to hike. I will die.
Hikes for 7 days and then have a match.
Yes. And then carry everything
That's
up
next,
with us.
right? Next year.
Builds grit, per se, right?
Listen,
Character.
I feel like I could do anything now at this point.
For real. Well, so set the scene. How many people are there for this in total? Once you're settled, once all of the helicopters have arrived.
So we took 2 helicopters up to from Lukla up to Kalapatar. The first helicopter that went up, it was our announcer, who is, I don't know how to say his name, but he is a big comedian over in Nepal, and they explained to me that he's like their Mr. Bean. Okay.
Wow.
Like he even like looked like Mr. Bean, but like Nepali.
Right.
And then we had Sanam, our Sherpa, who he grew up in like a small little town on the mountains, like at like near base camp. And then we had Bishnu, who owns a tourism magazine over there. And he was like our photographer, videographer, just making sure everything got captured. And the 4th person was Zueli. And she's actually also a wrestler over there in Nepal, but she was our referee. So they flew up with these big posts that they drilled into the ground to make the 4 corners of the ring, and carry the pads up and get all the banners, because we had so many sponsors to make this happen. So they helicoptered up. They flew to one location, took 2 people up, came back down, took the other 2 people up, because too much weight in the helicopter couldn't go that high. And then once they picked the other 2 people up on the hold spot, me and Bhagwati got into another helicopter, and we flew all the way there. I was like, can I call shotgun? And they're like, yes. So I got to fly shotgun on the way up. So when we were flying over, we could like see them really tiny. I actually posted a video on it on my Instagram. When I was posting it, it actually gave me motion sickness trying to like watch it and make sure I cut the beginning and the end correctly so it wasn't too long. And I was like, oh my God, I'm really sick right now. No, I wasn't sick on the helicopter, but when I was making the post. But you could see them, they're just like these tiny little people. And you could see the other helicopter in our tiny little 4-square ring. And he flew us past Mount Everest Base Camp, which is like a block of ice. Insane. Which is also lower than Kalapatar. And then we land, and I felt like I was like stepping on the moon for the first time. It's like how it was like I opened the door. Well, that our pilot opened the door for me, and I like stepped out, and I'm like, oh my God, we're here. And I'm just like taking it in and like assessing the breathing situation. Because that was the biggest thing. That was like, how am I going to wrestle? I have asthma. I don't know if my lungs are going to be okay. I did prep a little bit, but like not for months leading up to it. But the breathing was okay. It was deeper, heavier breaths, but I was fine, even though it's like 50% oxygen up there.
I was gonna ask, like, how do you even adjust, like, or just kind of tailor your training regimen in preparation for something like that, knowing you don't actually have months to do preparation for it? Is there anything like short term you could do? Like, maybe the intervals of your cardio, or just maybe restricting your breathing a little bit? I don't know. Like,
I honestly didn't change anything that I was
there you
training.
go. She's just ready to go.
It was called OxyFlow. It's this like little mouth guard that you put in, and it like controls your breathing. Do you remember the training masks that we all used to like wear?
Yeah, I've
like,
seen something. It's like
7
called
years
an
ago.
Airwave that they use in CrossFit. It's like a similar thing that helps you like
Okay.
be conscious and aware of your intake and how you're breathing.
It's probably exactly like that.
Mhm.
And I did that for like a month leading up to it, because like I was like, yeah, we're gonna do it. But again, until I had that ticket in hand, I was like, I'm not gonna go train insane for something that might not happen. So I was like, not half-assing it, but I was just like, all right, let's just get the lungs in order.
Yeah.
I will mentally and physically make sure everything else happens. Let's just get these lungs together. And I think I was fine. But it was the brain. I could not create coherent sentences, like conversations. Like I had to voice over my promo because I kept saying the same thing over and over again. And I'm like, I cannot get out what is in my brain. I cannot get those words out.
It's like, it's in here. I see it. It's just not like translating and then coming out.
Exactly. I forget what the word is called, but that is a piece of altitude
Is it
sickness.
expressive dysplasia? I feel like I've heard of this, where it's like, you know what you want to say. It's in your mind. It's very coherent, but you just have a very difficult time like articulating it the way you're envisioning.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Don't quote me. Internet, please don't quote me. I could be totally wrong.
You heard it here first, folks. Kaya McKenna says.
Please grill me so I can go live a normal, peaceful life with 10 hugs. No, but it is a thing that people do experience. So it's a very real thing that you have to overcome as well if you're like nervous or anxious or just having overwhelmed.
There's literally 50% oxygen up there than I'm used to.
Shoot.
Pittsburgh's at like 372 meters.
Mm-hmm.
So that's over 5,000 meters higher.
Shoot. I bet you're breathing super great in your matches now.
Honestly, this might sound ridiculous, but I feel worse now than I did prior. And I don't know if it's because like it was such a quick thing, and then I was like literally got off a plane and went straight to a show, and have been literally, today is like my first day of like chill. Kind of, yeah. I've been so overly jam-packed with nonstop wrestling and this and that and like real life and family and working out and clients and everything. And I'm like, today is like my first day to like, all right, I can sit here for a moment, but then I schedule to do a podcast. So like, it's still nonstop. I'm just like not stopping.
And you still found time in this nonstop schedule to go to a completely different country halfway across the world and have a match.
For real.
Listen, I did have to cancel a show to go, which it's a once in a lifetime thing. So I think it was okay that I did cancel. I was supposed to go to North Carolina, but I'll make it up to them. I'll be back. I'll be back.
And now you get to come back as a world record holder. So it's more marketable and, more valuable.
I leveled up, guys. I leveled up.
Then everyone can thank you for the gate. Yeah, I'm glad you said that about Pittsburgh being slightly elevated, because I had a feeling, obviously, so I was out there. We saw each other a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
At Enjoy. And I walked up, I approached Kaya. I don't know if I told you this, but I approached Dani mid her doing an impression of the runway.
Incredible.
And then she like stressed it. I'm like, oh, what's happening? Oh, Facade's filming her. This is social media content. I'm interrupting it.
I've never even seen the footage. I don't even know. Like,
who knows?
B-roll
in the moment and doing whatever. I probably looked really dumb. Who knows?
What I was, it's funny.
Filming me, and I'm like, I was thrown off.
But it was funny. So the day before that, I went to get a tattoo. And it was in Polish Hill part. Yeah. And I got there a little early to kill some time. I went, like, there was a record store around the corner. Like, okay. And then I walk up the big hill back to the tattoo parlor, and I'm like, oh my God. Like, it was just a steep hill. Now I'm out of shape, but just we're at zero. We're basically at sea level here outside of Philly. So it's maybe a little higher in the suburbs, but not much. So I'm just like, ooh, so I can only imagine this incredible height. But yeah, it was good seeing the two of you. I think it was the first time seeing you team in person as the Neon Blondes, of course. That was a really good show. The Enjoy. How many people were there for that? Do you know? That was like,
oh God. Really? I honestly don't know how many were there, but
yeah,
Stage AE was packed.
It seemed like 1,000 people, or pretty close to
it. Easily.
Yeah.
It was jam packed, and like, I'll have to ask them to like see what the actual numbers were.
Yeah.
Because that night I did ask them, and they're like, we don't know. They were still like in awe that like it filled up like so much. So it was like a really exciting moment for them to like they did it. They put on a successful show in Pittsburgh at one of the big concert venues. Like, it was so cool. That was so cool. Like, I got to manage. What was it?
What venue was it at again?
Stage AE.
Oh, okay, cool.
NXT and Ring of Honor ran there.
Okay. And you were saying you had to manage something?
Yeah, I got to manage Facade when he wrestled for Ring of Honor at Stage AE. I think it was against Hangman Page. And there was one more, but I forget who the other person was that he wrestled. But it was really cool that he got to wrestle there twice. I got to manage and then wrestle. So it was a cool full circle, because I wasn't even wrestling back when I managed him whenever it was at Stage AE.
It was this wild tag match, 4-way. Now I'm blanking on who else was in the match. Of course, TME won. They won the championship. Spoilers. Kings of the District.
Coming out soon. It should be coming out soon.
Oh yeah.
And they made posts with their new.
Oh, the results are all. Everybody knows. Yeah.
The Kings of the District, E.L. O'Neill and Jordan Blade, and the production, which is Derek Dillinger and Katie Arquette.
Yep, that's right. Yeah, just really great. It was wild. It was wild. You got thrown about 15 feet in the air.
Listen.
Oh my God.
Listen. I hugged for dear life. I was so scared. It was the most insane thing ever.
That high sometimes, like especially when you're in someone else. Like, if you got thrown, they said.
It was
like a moonsault press kind of thing, right? Sort of.
But freaking a power slam.
Oh,
So second rope, he had me. He picked me up, had me in power slam. Stepped on the second rope, stepped again, and jumped and like power slammed from the second row. But it's Duke Davis, who's like 6'5",
Oh God, yeah. So
300 pounds, like big man.
I similar story. I at a show was tagging with Merrick Brave and Mason Beck, and Mason Beck is like 6'7" too, like 300 pounds, and he military pressed me. And you know how you're supposed to kind of like try to post on the back a little bit, like my arms are just like dangling, and I'm like, I'm trying, brother. I just I couldn't reach his back, but he's obviously so strong. He has you, and then just like getting like pushed up and then chucked and thrown onto people, like with his height and then the ring's height. It's like, oh my God, wow, I'm like up way higher than I thought I would be when I agreed to this.
You're like, this is different than I imagined, but as long as you end up safe.
Oh yeah,
it's a good thing. It was a good thing.
Yeah, just I remember being up there and being like, I'm dog paddling in the air right now.
I will have to go back and find that and watch it. Or you just post that. You need to post that.
And I'll have to watch yours when it comes out, when Enjoy puts their show up.
It's a great match.
Oh yeah.
It's insane.
You guys are killing it.
Thank you. We're trying. We also got to, it was our second year doing it. We got to work at Electric Forest. So, because last year was like the test run of first time ever having wrestling at Electric Forest. And Facade was actually the first wrestling match at Electric Forest. And then we got invited back this year, and it was a blast. And it was so much more popular. Like every time, like we dressed how we dress, like this is our normal stuff. Like how you see us is how we are day in and day out. Family, not family, wrestling, chilling at the house. So when we go to Electric Forest, everybody's dressing all vibrant and crazy, and like they get to be who, generally speaking, they don't get to be in real life. And people are noticing us and complimenting us on our look at a place where people look so crazy and like the best way, and like, but we're still standing out. So it's like a really cool feeling that like, even though we're just dressing how we normally dress in a place like Electric Forest, and those people are all noticing us, and we're like, this is kind of cool.
For real.
That's a music festival, correct? Just in context. If I couldn't remember, like electronic music, maybe?
Yeah, it's an EDM festival, but I got to see Ludacris.
Oh, that's fun.
Yep.
Oh, that's great.
A whole hour and a half. I was there by myself watching it because Facade had to wrestle at the beginning of his set, and I'm like, peace. I'm going to see Ludacris.
For real, yeah.
Because the day before, I had to wrestle during Nelly Furtado's set, and he got to see Nelly Furtado. So I'm like, you saw Nelly, I'll see Ludacris. We'll just. So I didn't even care. It was freaking amazing.
I love.
If he ever comes near the city, you love Nelly Furtado.
Big fan, yeah.
I feel like I'd pick Ludacris. I don't know why.
He's great too. I just Nelly Furtado. I have
an hour and a half. Like, I mean.
And I knew every freaking song. I was like, oh my God.
He's a lot of hits.
He has so many. He didn't even play all the ones that I wanted him to play. There was still more. There were still so many more.
Did he do Get Back?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
Okay, good. Okay, that's
good.
He
was like, I know it was a set. Like it was like pre-planned on how he was doing it, but he was like checking the crowd to see what era of fans were in the crowd. And I didn't realize I was a fan of his from the get-go. And I'm like, this is awesome. This is really, really, really cool. And like played like the Fast and Furious stuff, which a lot of people were like, that was like when they came up, but like, it was just so cool. I filmed like the whole thing. I'll probably never post any of it, but I have it for myself if I ever want to go back.
Man, we've covered a lot of ground here, from Nepal to Ludacris.
Oh man, I'll circle back to Nepal because.
Yeah, let's end it on that. Let's circle back to Nepal. Come full circle here.
Full circle is so. Over there, there's not a lot of wrestling. Like here, we have easily 100 options for every day of the week, probably Friday through Sunday, to choose a show or get invited to a show. But over there's them. That's it. And it's really hard for them to get in and out of Nepal, especially to the States. So there's not a lot of wrestling going on, and they're only training themselves unless somebody else comes over to do a seminar or train them or stay for a couple months to help train them. So what they learn, I think, is on the internet or what they watch. So going into it, I agreed to take a power bomb as the finish. I'm like, F it. This is a once in a lifetime thing. It's for a world record. If I die, I die. Like, whatever. It's fine. So we call the match and everything. It's very short. It's very short because we both were extremely nervous about the breathing and are we going to be able to actually physically move and think and be safe with each other while we're up there. So it's very, like, again, like I said, it was maybe 8 minutes with 3 promos. So the match itself is about 3-4 minutes, maybe. If that, who even knows? I haven't seen it in like full, like regular, like time. And it's insane. So I do hit Twist of Fate, which I got to show Matt Hardy this Twist of Fate. And it's the most ridiculous Twist of Fate you'll ever see in your life. So when this all comes out, no judgments, okay? We were at a really high elevation, and she's never taken a Twist of Fate before. But I will say I landed on my back before she took a flat face bomb.
Kind of reminds me of like a Twist of Fate / Rude Awakening combo, perhaps.
Listen, we got there. We got there.
If it's good, it's good. If it's good, it's good.
It's okay. It's okay.
It's okay. It's okay.
Yeah. But so I hit that and I'm like, you're kicking out of my finish. Like I have 2 finishes, my rope walk crossbody and the Twist of Fate. So I'm like, just kick out like 2.5, like, and then we'll go work towards the finish. I'm trying to like pull her over to pin her, and she's like not like there, like I cannot get her to like roll over. And Zueli is like straight up like in her face, are you okay? Are you okay? Are you okay? And I'm like, oh my God, did something bad really just happen? And then she starts like to go up on all fours, and I'm like, no, stay down. And then she kicks out at like 2. And then I'm selling to the non-existent crowd up there on Kalapatar, just the mountains and the wind and the snow-capped mountains. And the second I turn around, boom, straight to the gut, pick up for the power bomb, and she starts spinning. And I'm like, oh, shoot, we're spinning. We are spinning, and our mat is this big, and now my back is towards the regular rock with no mat. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be fighting her, but I'm just like, keep turning, keep turning, keep turning. And then I take the power bomb, and all is safe. We all survive. I will say I did lose, but I still won. But yeah, it was something insane. I felt honestly fine after the match. Like I didn't need to take any more oxygen. I needed to take oxygen after we were taking all these photos, and like I was like, because I always flex in all my photos. I had to take oxygen after we took all those photos before the match. Our helicopter pilot, he was holding the oxygen for us, and we were all just like sharing the oxygen mask. But yeah, it was insane. And then we were only up there for like a half hour max, and they were like, we gotta go, because there was like one more group waiting to use these helicopters. Mm-hmm. And then we got stuck on Lukla for a day. So we got to spend the night up there and then fly home the next day straight to a show.
What an experience. One for the books, the record books.
Listen, it was crazy, and it still feels surreal. It's really like, it's not hard to talk about, but it's still, I feel like not robotic talking about it, but like I don't even know if I got to like let it all sink in, because when it happened, life was just like this, and it's still like this. So I don't even know if I've taken a moment and like I want to go into those water pods and just like meditate for like an hour and think about it. Like, I feel like I need to like force that to happen to just let this whole experience soak in.
It's an amazing thing you've done, and thank you for telling us about it, telling the listeners and viewers about it. Man, is
I'm
is
like
this
speechless.
is
Like it's just
yeah.
an amazing experience, and thank you for coming here and sharing it with us, and we can all celebrate it together.
Thank you guys for having me.
Of course.
Yeah. Is there at some point, like, so this is documented. I don't know if it was documented the whole way through. Like, is there something that people will be able to go watch at some point where they can?
Yeah, so it's supposed to be. So they did edit it with all of our voiceovers because all of us messed up our promos because
Sure.
again, we could not get the words out of our mouth from our brains. So it is edited. They're just waiting for the World Book of Records London to release our like placards or like certificates
Sure.
to release the match. And then we're still also just waiting for Guinness Book of World Record to like approve it. So technically it might be in 2 record books. Fingers crossed it's in both because I would love to be in the Guinness Book of World Records. But as of now, it's 100% in the World Book of Records, London. And once that's officially released, that's when the match will officially be released.
Awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait to see.
Again, no judgments. It's crazy.
How anybody could judge anything like that is beyond me. Like that is such an incredible undertaking that you should just be in awe of regardless of what the outcome is, right? Like that you guys were able to do that is just in its own right.
It's
story. So
both just like figuring out how to wrestle up there and the cost alone. I don't even know how much money she spent on this. Well, not her, but like with all the
sponsorships.
All the sponsorships, like I got to meet about 5 of the sponsors because we're just driving around on this moped, which insane traffic there. And they're just handing like money. Just here you go. And I'm like, oh, I wish this was happening in the US. I could go so many more places. Some people are like, nope, can't book you. It costs too much to get you here. And I'm like, okay. Sponsors, if you want to sponsor me and you want to see me in any state or any country you want, I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And back home, it's like you're like, oh, sorry, it's bringing you in. The gas is just going to be too much. Like you're in Monroeville. What? I'm in Pittsburgh. What are you talking about? Yeah. So this has just been fascinating. I want to give you a chance to plug anything you want, your socials, anything else coming up you want to tell listeners, viewers about. The floor is yours for that now.
So every month at the beginning, I'll actually be doing it tonight. I post for myself and Facade where you'll find us. And I try to come up with like a little clever, like June journeys or whatever it is. I don't know what July is going to be yet, but that has a list of everywhere we're going to be. And then constantly I'm promoting and posting stories and posts about where we're going to be with the flyers, both promoting our matches and the promotion itself. Something this weekend, actually, again, I don't know when this is coming out, but I get to defend my Battleground Championship against Sue Young on July 6th. So whether that's coming up or it just happened, hopefully I get to retain.
We'll have this out by then. Yeah, we'll make sure that people hear about it.
So on at the ECW Arena, I get to battle Sue Young. I love wrestling Sue, and I get to fight for my title again at an all-women show. So that's a really cool thing, and it's the first time that they're doing that at that company. And then there's a lot coming up this month, but a first that's happening is we are going to Hawaii in August. That'll be a first for Oos Wrestling. Our friend Jeremy Weller, he has sponsored us to get us to Hawaii so we can have this amazing experience. So I'm very thankful for that. And there's some more stirring up that we don't have details yet that are so solid, but hopefully we get to announce more crazy things coming up later this year. But you can follow everything on every social media from Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. Everything is at Real Dani Mo, which you can see right there. Learned that new thing today.
Yeah.
Or at The Neon Blondes is mine and Facade's joint account, which kind of just mirrors everything that we do. So thank you guys for having me on today.
Of course. Thank you for chatting. We appreciate you making time for us in your nonstop busy schedule.
Yeah, this
Thank
has been
you guys.
Of course, always follow along everything PWI at official PWI. Kaya's handle again on the screen. KAIAMCK. Yeah.
It's right here.
Opposite. Kaya, per tradition, I don't know if you've got any brewing, but
I do.
We've covered a lot of ground. Yeah, if you could send us off with some witchy wisdom.
You know, I was thinking about like experiences and resources, and we were talking about sponsors, and it's like there are like many things in this business we just give that are actually limited, right? Like your time is something that is limited, that has value. Your own personal savings or money to get you opportunities has value, right? Like your mental well-being has value. And as we all go on this journey, like, don't ever forget your resources have value and not everybody's entitled to them. And you want to make sure that you have your resources in line. So if you get cool opportunities like Dani got, that you can make that happen for yourself, you know? Don't pour into buckets that are not pouring back into you. It's definitely something to remember as we go through the summer.
I love that.
Yeah. I can't buy more time. Like I can go make more money. I can't buy more time.